to episode 36 of the Subs Bench podcast, sponsored by Global Valuers, iSponsor and Bank of Queensland New Farm. Tonight we are in unfamiliar surroundings, and it's Caboolture Football Club. Caboolture Snakes, Terry?
Caboolture Sports Football Club, but he's known as the Snakes.
Snakes, yeah.
I was at a lunch today actually, and I was sitting next to a guy, and he's a large guy, and everyone was talking about him being at the Snakes and with rugby league. No idea what he was talking about, but his son plays at Caboolture Snakes rugby league, and we started talking about the Caboolture Snakes. So that was a bit of a small world.
Yeah. TC, Dusty, as always. It's got to be back out on the road, isn't it?
Yeah. What a trip out of God's country.
How long did it take us to get here?
Lost.
45?
No, it would have been a bit more.
Maybe 50, 51, I think. 51.
51.3.
We got here in 51. Probably took us an hour after dust got lost.
Oh, well, 9 minutes in the car park, yeah.
Ran over a few toes, a few sand traps.
Got stuck in a bit of sand, but we made it.
It's a feral complex. We'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about Caboolture and the journey that they're on. But yeah, good to have you along, TK. We've been talking about doing this for a few months now. Wanted to get the season out the way so we could do it justice and see where Caboolture had finished. And we'll go through a few things, but then we'll get into the season, your journey. And I'm looking forward to this one. Should be good. Things we noticed through football in the last few weeks. TC, I think the big news the last few days.
Solskjaer getting the boot.
Ole Gunnar.
Yeah, PE teacher finally met his end.
PE teachers beat Pep Guardiola 4 times, I think, yeah.
Has he?
Yeah, he has. I think you're doing him a disservice.
Did you just trigger Ben?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm stirring him up because he's got...
Beat Pep Guardiola 4 times, Thomas Tuchel twice, Jurgen Klopp twice. PE teachers don't do that.
Responsible for 20% of the home losses in the Premier League since it started.
Stats can show anything you want them to show.
Since Ferguson.
Yeah, look, I
think it's done okay.
Let's be real. This season, results, the squad he's got, I think he warrants getting moved on, certainly. But when people say he's a PE teacher, I know it's a bit of a joke thing, but what he has done, I think, is from when Mourinho was there was a lot of toxic culture there. I think he's kind of rid the club of that, and whoever comes in next has got more solid foundation to build on. Players, staff, fans that were a bit happier with the team that we're watching. I think that the years after Ferguson were a bit of a struggle.
It seemed like he sort of instilled that United,
it was the United DNA.
Yeah.
Players who give a shit.
As I watched the thing today, I think Richie Herlin actually tagged you and Wooly in it on Facebook. I watched a bit of that, and Roy Keane was banging on about, they've lost the fabric of what United is, but he's definitely brought that back more so than what the other managers had in previous years.
Yeah,
the one thing I'll say about
you can do that all you want, but if the results aren't there,
he had to go. He had to go, especially 5-0 at home, 2-0, and then Watford 4-1. Fucking hell. But what I will say about Solskjaer, right until the last minute, he's a class act as a person.
He's a class act, yeah.
He's a real good person. I know that's not the be all and end all. We talked about this off air. It's all about results, but I just look at him and think, you know what? He actually gives a shit about the club he's at.
Let's be pretty harsh though. Please tell me when you have ever seen. I'm not a Man United supporter. I've watched Arsenal this year in the first part of the year, and a game I just had to turn off and walk away from because they set everyone behind the ball, and all of a sudden, all their main focus was to defend, put the ball in the opposition half, and wait for him to come back. Please tell me when you've seen a Man United side ever play at home at Old Trafford against a side like Man City.
Yeah, that was a watershed moment.
Because they got a bit of a touch-up from Liverpool. And I'm sorry, but the manager got scared. He put everyone behind the ball. And he lost the players, he's lost the supporters, and that game was atrocious.
I'd agree with that. I would agree.
Yeah. A Man United supporter, if that was Liverpool, all right, as a Liverpool supporter, if that was here at Caboolture or at Peninsula, would you, as a supporter, want to come down and watch a team sit in your own half and just turn around and go, listen, let's concede today we're going to concede defeat. Let's make it 1 or 2 so we don't cop 5. Or would you rather him go and have a go and then show some fire and some passion and try and look to win a game, never alone if you steal one and then, basically try and manage your game out. They didn't do that. And that happened at Old Trafford in front of the whole world. That's what I felt about that point in time, and I look at his demise from there.
It was that game, I think, Terry. It wasn't the Liverpool game for me.
No, it's that.
It was the City game where I thought, you didn't even try in that one. Yeah. That was the one I thought.
I think he was already done by that point. It was just a matter of time, and he was trying to.
It's played out a little bit longer,
maybe just hold the damage as well.
In history, I don't think you would go back on a Man United team at Old Trafford and go back in history and watch 1,000 games and see a team go out and set up like that.
No, I'd agree with that. So he's gone. United are searching for a replacement. Could take a full season to get one. It could be in a few weeks, but
I should have sacked him 3 weeks ago and got Conte, I reckon.
See, I don't think Conte fits United. I know he's a winner and this, that, the other.
He would have given him a quick
lift, and then I think in a couple of years,
like he did at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Pochettino will get it.
Yeah.
Well, they've wanted Pochettino for a while, but
you talk about winning things like.
Yeah, again,
winner? Like,
there's not many winners out there that play the United football.
You can't get any more of a layup than coaching PSG, could you? Like with their squad. And like, if you can manage them to, say he manages them to win the Champions League this year, then you'd be like, okay, because he shows that he can do it. But if he quits now and to take the United job, to be honest, they're not going to win the league, United. I'd just see it out. And maybe
the best three coaches in the league are already in the Premier League. In the world, sorry.
Yeah.
You would say Guardiola, Klopp and Tuchel.
Yeah.
They're probably the top 3. And they're all United's rivals.
All right. Well, since Sir Alex Ferguson named the managers, because let's go back in each time, they've already gone after a couple and they've had a few big ones there already.
Yeah, Mourinho, Van Gaal.
Van Gaal, Mourinho.
Okay, so let's go back in time and look at all those points in time. They went and got the best available at the time. Roy Keane is spot on. I haven't seen a Man United player go and kick another player and chase people down, hunt like that Brat Pack did back in the day. And now we've got coaches who want to play technical and they want to bring in players because they see them on a computer and they want to play possession football. Well, maybe that's just not for Man United English football. And, there's been a succession of big-time managers there. Maybe they need to get someone outside the box that's not a big-time manager who wants to come in and put the brush through the joint like a young Sir Alex Ferguson and make a name for himself and get some players in there who are going to go and play a tougher brand of football, boys who are prepared to tackle and cop a few cards and have a bit of attitude about them.
It's the same as Arsenal.
Well,
since the days of Vieira and
get Simeone in.
Simeone's been mentioned,
I said Simeone would be perfect for Arsenal because he doesn't put up with weak players and they have too many of them.
The best thing Keane said last week was, I think it was the Man City game, he said, sometimes in a game, he said, I wasn't having a good game myself. He said, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go and smash someone just to make myself feel better. And that's what they're lacking, is someone like a Roy Keane who just grabs the game or a person or a teammate or himself by the scruff of the neck and just says, you know what, I'm going to change the game. The momentum of the game is going to change with an incident, and all of a sudden it might flare up and then we can get on the front foot here.
Well, the leadership group there, let's look at, you've got an English player, you've got your captain. Now, at the moment, has he been in your best players for the last 6 to 8, 10 weeks? So, if your manager's really going to cop it, it's when your captain's not even anywhere near the races and everyone's turning on him. So that relationship between manager and captain the captain running the change room, obviously the captain's not running the change room. So, there's and everyone can branch out and look at many different things, but the fact of the matter is they have a problem and it extends far, far greater than the change room.
Honestly, I wouldn't let Harry Maguire run a bath for us.
Well, he's the captain.
Never mind the team.
Whoever's made the decision, the bottom line is he's currently the captain of Man United.
Yeah, he signed him and made him captain.
Okay, so once again, as I said, there's always something that leads to it. But when you're captain at Man United, and remember, you got Roy Keane, a legend of Man United, the captain of captains, the leader of men, quite consistently now, openly criticising a fellow captain of the club that you've been a championship winning captain of. I think that says a lot. And maybe that, why doesn't the board, they've got rid of the manager, well, maybe the captain should be going with him. That's a fact.
I don't think you'll see him. Well, I don't know. Do you reckon he'll play again? Like, he's obviously going to play again this year.
He'll play again. There was a thing going around on social media. You know, he got sent off the other day.
Yeah.
So he's now off for the Chelsea game. And the joke was he now misses the Chelsea game. Chelsea have appealed the red card.
Yeah.
So,
but he's a good player, and he's obviously an England centre back, but he might not be the leader. And it's not about the quality of the player. Obviously, he's good enough to get there, but the leader's got to be someone who's, quite ruthless.
But having being a centre back in the team, like how you're saying earlier, like the way that they're setting up this year is putting a lot more pressure on the centre backs. Well, they're back four.
Well, they've been exposed.
They're being exposed.
And you've got to defend.
You put being the captain as well when you're a little bit you're terribly out of form at club level. You're the captain of the club, and you're exposed. Like, it's maybe they've just got to, maybe he has to just take the captaincy off him and you just focus on, doing your job week in, week out and sort of take a step back, because I think captaincy is not for everyone and people can overthink it.
Cristiano Ronaldo right now, you see the man, you take the badge off him and you put it on him and you let him run the change room.
Well, I think...
And are they playing him in the right position for him to do that?
Well, Benny's got to be in his bonnet about Ronaldo.
Well, I think you do, because you see what he does for Portugal. They won the Euros.
The signing of Ronaldo has hurt them, because I think it was made financial, not football, because they now set up a different way, and it's exposed the lads at the back, the holding midfield. Last year, people talk about this defence at Manchester United and the holding midfielders. They had the second or third best defence for the last 2 years in the league. So they were doing okay then. And all of a sudden now they've got someone who won't press from the front. So they're having to defend a bit deeper. The other team's got more possession in their half. I don't know, we're saying the defender's getting exposed for having to defend. But they were doing okay before this. And now... he's scoring his goals, I get it. And he's a great player.
He's probably the only player in that side who could handle the pressure of being Man United captain at this point.
I think Fernandes could.
Yeah, well, I'd be going for Ronaldo because, I see him very, very frustrated, and I see him quite angry. The incident the other week when the ball went on the ground and he kicked the ball into the void.
He could easily went.
But guess what? That's a Roy Keane. That's a leader. And I'm sure there'd be supporters in the crowd going, well, we want to see more of that, and we want to see it all over the park. And I think there's too many players at the moment that are just skipping around, and they would have let that go and stood over him. But he did that in frustration. He did it in anger. And guess what? He's a winner. And that's the sort of my opinion. Tell you my opinion. But I've watched a few Man United games lately, and when I saw that incident and a few other little things with him, he needs to be probably repositioned. He needs to put the armband on, and he needs to lead the change room and run the show, and let him do it.
I think his assist on the weekend, like, not many people would see that and head it back across for what's his
Van der Beek.
Yeah, and he obviously has, he's a team player. As much as everyone says that he's a selfish player, whatnot. Yeah, maybe he is selfish in front of goal, where you want your best player in the world to be, but. He has he could have easily tried to score that himself, but he was like, no, this guy's in a better position. He just knocked it down for him, and smart play. So I think Ronaldo would be a good fit, at least short term.
Well, if I walked in the door tomorrow, he'd be end of story, and there wouldn't be nothing changing my mind.
Yeah, he'll lead from the front. He will. So enough about United.
We'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
You might be on Sportsbet tomorrow, TK. As a
Caboolture's
chuck it on.
Anything else, or do we dive into the NPL Grand Final that happened last week? So 2 weeks ago now, NPL Grand Final.
That's right.
We all previewed the show. We all previewed an Olympic win.
I think I picked Lions.
I think you did, mate.
Let's be clear. It was more to do with, I think it was time they won.
Yeah.
And
I think they couldn't lose.
Well, I picked them because I thought they were the better team, if I'm being honest.
We did mention as well that Lions are a different breed in finals, and anything could happen. But yes, I did tip Olympic. I'll take one.
The game itself, I must admit, I was in and out of watching it. I was too. I had a couple of drinks and I was in and out of watching it. From what I saw, which is probably about 70% of the game. It looked a pretty even game. I think the big moments, Lions won. 2 great goals, the second, third.
Yeah. Well, even the first as well.
What I will say,
the first from Fekir as well was a good finish.
Yeah, I don't think the Olympic from the last 6 weeks of the season turned up.
No.
I think they were off their game, and credit to Lions, as they always do. They took advantage and
the longer
their win.
it went as well, Lions got more and more, just gradually on top. There was never like massive.
There's always a bit of niggle in those games. But they don't get on.
Some of those goals, like as you said, the second and third, the first was good as well, but the second goal, and then James Beattie off the bench and just sticks one home from almost halfway.
I think too, I think you were saying too, is the Olympic probably should have been out of sight at when they got back to 1-1.
Yeah,
they had a couple of.
Didn't Saros have a couple of chances?
Costa came on, scored, and then missed
another
one. That would have put them potentially 3-1 up. But I mean, the Lions get down the other end and score.
Costa did very well to get himself, and he did great finish for the first one.
Yeah,
got himself in a good position.
Well, he changed the game for him when he came on.
Yeah,
and then he scored.
But those sorts of like chances, you probably want falling to like a clinical.
Well, you want them to fall to Brady at the minute or Leck.
Yeah, because I think maybe I don't think Costa would say it. He probably snatched at both of them. I think he took one from edge of the 18-yard box when Borean was almost on the ground already.
Considering that the finish for the one he scored,
such a good finish,
he would have been disappointed. But Lions get out the other end.
It was a grand final,
Yeah,
it's pressure and it's.
Fekir scored a cracker.
Finals footballer won on moments.
Yeah, and then Leck as well got himself sent off.
I think that lead-up play for Fekir's goal was good team play, but I don't know what Olympic were doing, Thompson was allowed to just drive. I don't know. He just had acres and acres, and then Solskjaer, I don't know if he tried to flick that or turn. I don't know, but yeah, it just fell perfectly. In fact, it's just smashed that top corner. It was some finish.
Well, they've done it again. That's 2 in a row.
Winners win.
Winners win,
as we say.
Yeah.
Not us. But
we don't say that.
Week after that. What was the week after that? 2 weeks after that, actually. NPL Allstars. So we picked our own team of the year on the last show. Yep. Because I think we knew what the team was that had already been announced. There's only one of them actually played. There's loads of dropouts.
The Olympic boys were all away, weren't they?
There was a few they were away. There's a few others dropped out. Anyway, it ended up being a B team NPL Allstars. Went 2-0 down to the Roar. Came back 1-3-2. And from what I saw, were probably value for the most part.
Little mate.
Again, I was in and out. We had a presentation night, but
little mate Rio Ono popped up and scored.
He got the winner, and then 2 of the Roar boys. Was it Eli and Keegan?
Yeah, one was a pen, and then one was.
And then Eli. Yeah.
The women's team won as well. Pretty sure.
Yeah, not a good day for the Roar. But the week before their season, are they fully focused on a game against the local player?
Should be beaten part-time.
Should still be winning.
They should be, but
should be beaten. As you said, with all due respect, not the team of the season, NPL Allstars. It was just a sort of select team, I guess.
It might have worked in the favour because, given that a few boys dropped out, a few of the Raw boys played, who'd played NPL, to be fair, but maybe a few boys got a run who were more hungry. Their season wasn't just wrapping up or whatever.
So I want to say that I'm correct in saying this. Hopefully you can back us up here. Only 2 coaches now have beat Brisbane Roar from local Brisbane football. Aaron Philpot's one. Do you know who the other one is?
Yeah, it was the coach that was told by the Roar, and someone from the Roar in 2007, 2008 didn't like my style of football. When we beat them, I was the coach. I said to him afterwards when he was walking to the car park in front of 3,000 people, "You still don't like our brand of football, big man?"
1-0.
How do you take it?
Did you get a response?
Well, I've never got the Raw job, have I?
Yes.
So yeah, yourself and Aaron Philp.
Yeah,
the only 2 who actually got the win.
Yeah, look, going back to the two incidents last 2 weeks, a lot of people would know, but I texted Ben Khan after the grand final loss, and I texted him before the game too. I was really hoping that my time Olympic, that they would have won that grand final. For Ben as a young coach, a lot of pressure down there. and I've had a lot to do with Aaron as well. And I text Ben after the game on Sunday, and then when Aaron was selected to take on that team, Aaron's played for me and worked on whatever as well, and I've had a lot to do there with Aaron. And when he won, or when the Allstars won that game, I texted Aaron the next day and I said, mate, there's 2 local coaches in this whole landscape that have been able to get games against the Roar and win. Aaron with obviously his select team, and us at Peninsula Power in 2009. And and both of us have come through that Peninsula sort of time. I think it's really, really important that these sorts of games go on. I wouldn't look at the Roar's position and where Mooney and everyone sits in it, but for young coaches coming through to get the opportunities to coach in these big games, and it's important that they can get the chances to win. And I'm lucky, I've had a lot of big wins in my career as well. And I think Ben's at that stage where at some stage those big wins will come, but it takes time. And Aaron's major league success has been without grand final appearances at Peninsula Power. There's no misunderstanding that he's had big players. You've had a lot to work with, and it's been great to win the leagues. But at the NPL, it's winning the grand finals. But for Ben to be there now a number of times, he's done really well. Mooney's been there and had great success and been able to go on. I've been there, at times as well. But I think to see Aaron in control of a select team to beat an A-League club for a young coach, would himself personally and his family when he goes home to his wife and whatever else, I don't think a lot of people understand what it takes to actually be in charge of those sorts of teams and win those big games. And I sent Aaron a message straight away the next day. Same thing, mate, well done. Don't ever forget these moments. Because what I find in history is that people forget about those moments for people like us. You just asked me about 2009. We did that in 2 years beforehand, Peninsula Power on the bottom and getting relegated.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff going on, and Darren Symes is another one. Symes has come through and to win a grand final. He's done well. Well, he's done 2 in a row, and these are big moments for these young guys coming through. And I was just really happy that Aaron's had the success, and then to finish the season, go and win that. Obviously, presentation night, absolutely brilliant, first class.
Yeah. So that's the season wrapped up. Really, that's the last games.
I just want to clarify too, you're involved in it as well, mate.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people give you a lot of credit for what goes on down there, and that's the whole team that works.
Gives himself playing.
No. Tommy, he tells me all the time as well. But just going back on the success of that, mate, you've had a lot to do with what's going on down there as well. So don't ever, a lot of people, understand that as well. So don't underestimate that, mate. Well done.
So with the season being wrapped up, obviously we briefly look forward to next season. We'll obviously do a show probably in the new year that looks more ahead. But any signings that we know of?
Any signings that you know of?
I know of a couple.
I've heard a few, but
I've heard a few rumours. Just like
well, we've lost a few. Obviously, Whitey, I think it's well publicised, gone back down to Melbourne, Heidelberg. Had a great season for us, keeper of the year.
For Heidelberg.
Just a brilliant goalkeeper.
They got another good signing recently from Southwest Queensland, didn't they? TikTok boy.
Oh yeah.
Have you actually seen his TikTok?
No, I don't know what you're on about when you talk about this TikTok thing.
Have a look.
Yeah.
I know Facebook and Twitter, that's all I know.
I'm sure the viewers will appreciate it.
All right.
Some good gear gets around.
TikToker.
He's a TikToker, mate. Terry, you would fuck this guy. If he was in our change room at Olympic, he wouldn't last 5 minutes. Put it that way.
Luke Plummer is going to Brisbane City.
Ooh.
I think that's an exclusive. I don't think they've announced it yet.
So
we'll
Peninsula
announce
Power product, from Moreton Bay to Olympic, back to Peninsula Power.
Captain of the club.
Captain, mainstayer.
Team captain.
How did that happen, Ben?
I don't know. He decided he wanted a new challenge.
Has he become a full-time professional down there under Matt Smith?
No. I think he wants to go to the next level, and he thinks Matt being at centre half can help him with that. So.
Playing next to Bowlesy.
Yeah.
Bowlesy going around again.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
so Plummer's gone.
Well, I've had a lot to do with Luke as well. And by the way, if clubs are targeting him like that, and they're chasing him, and he takes that option, it's like when I took him to Olympic, You know, I think that's fantastic for a young player that's come through the system. But I think it's disappointing too that Peninsula couldn't keep him. But obviously, he sees he's got a bigger.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a pay packet deal. It's going to be obviously
he sees opportunity. I think that's what he sees.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Pengelly to Lions. Again, not.
Is that done deal?
Done deal. They haven't announced it yet, so I'll announce it for them.
Couple of big holes in the power lineup.
And McGowan's out for the season.
You've had some come in though.
A few young lads, yeah. We've got a couple of lads from Sunny Coast, Boyce and Cutler. Young Solomon, Harry Talbot from the Roar. And we got Dan Morgan coming in from New Zealand. So,
is there anyone following him?
Who?
The boy from New Zealand.
Is there following him?
Yeah, is there any big names following him or small names or?
We don't know yet.
Any sheep or?
Is there another exclusive coming?
Is this Costa Barbarouses?
Is the
Well, you got to remember, boys from New Zealand travel in 2s and 3s.
Is the Kiwi?
We haven't got any more visa spots.
Is he centre back?
Centre back, left back, yeah.
You guys love a Kiwi centre back, don't you? At Power.
Oh yeah, Boydie.
He'd
Yeah,
be the second best Kiwi centre back to play at Power.
yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, we just had a end of season trip actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
How
good.
was it?
Good.
Where'd you go?
You look tanned.
Burley, not Barley this time. Barley next year. But no, it was good. Yeah, I got a complaint from the owner of the house today about the state we left it in. But
Well, I'll tell you what, I got one for you about your trips. We went out and played in Stanthorpe last year. And I wake up in the morning and the general manager comes in and he says, TK, we've got a problem. I said, what's that? And he said, just got a phone call from the local police. One of your players has been found in the laundromat at the motel down the road. And apparently the story is that he's wandered back after having a bit of a rendezvous. He's gone to the hotel and he's put his key in the door and he thought the boys have locked him out and everyone was playing jokes on him. So he strolled downstairs in the laundromat and went to sleep. Turned out it was the wrong motel.
Wrong place.
Wrong motel. And the owner's come in and taken his wallet out while he's asleep, took his licence out, they tracked him down, rang us and said, you better come and get your player.
Jesus.
It must have been pretty well.
He could have ended up in a worse place.
Well, he did, because he ended up in my office when we got back here on Monday and TK did well for the fine budget. It was a great opportunity. Costly night for the big man, that was.
Yeah. Jesus.
Good.
Sorry.
yeah, no. Any other transfer news we know of? Marek. Marek to Rochdale.
Marek to Rochdale. That's a big
It's a good one for you.
Rovers, yeah. I don't think there's any other news from Rochdale.
Well, you're going to expect the Gold Coast Knights are surely going to be releasing a very large list of signings and releases.
Yeah, well, they have released
They're
quite
gonna
a
have
few.
to because they've released
7 or 8.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Scott McDonald's going to
he's going
Jai
go in
Ingham.
there with a mission.
They
And
signed Jai Ingham.
I've heard Jai Ingham to Gold Coast Knights. So that's a decent enough signing for them, but they're going to have to bring in, as you said, 5 or 6 more because they've released a lot of players. So they were massive underachievers for me. I think I tipped
Max
them to-
Mikkeler.
Oh, Max Mikkeler.
Lions down to South Melbourne.
South Melbourne.
Yeah, he had a good season, so...
Yeah, he did. He did have a good season. So, I mean, that's not... all the good Queensland boys get picked up down there, don't they? So
It's I know we've spoken about it a few times, but with COVID probably not having as big an effect moving forward at all, hopefully, it's going to keep happening more. Yeah. So
these pro contracts are going to become more and more important.
Oh, the budgets down there are not even close to up here.
But I mean, like imagine what could Queensland. You look at every single Queensland boy that goes down to Melbourne, does well, plays, starts usually in big clubs. So it'd be great if we could somehow. I mean, we never will get to that level. But
if you could just keep them all for 1 year.
Just keep them like last year was it when they all came back. Yeah. That was probably one of the best NPL quality wise for a long time. So we'd somehow work something out to keep them all here. Whether it be A-League opportunities.
You know what? The money's big down there, but also the lifestyle. They love the lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, because they get to play
this
semi-professional and live like pretty much a professional. Like you're getting paid enough that you don't really need to.
Well, we spoke to a goalkeeper 2 weeks ago, and he said, "Mate, I just absolutely love Melbourne."
Yeah.
There's also three A-League clubs in Melbourne. So for boys who want to go and play professionally, they get more of a look, I guess, in a bigger pool of good players.
Well, I've come the other way. So I'm a Melbourne product, and I've come here, and then I've been back to Melbourne. I go to Melbourne all the time, and you got to understand the demographics of what the city is down there. You know, there's all the way down from the southwest. There's league. There's you got the NPL, then you got NPL 1 technically, then it breaks off, and all the way through down to Division 2 and 3s, players are getting paid, and clubs are on big budgets. You know, here you've got clubs in the NPL that couldn't even put $100,000 together to put a team in the league. And I've said up here now for a long time that the league's too big. If at some stage soon, if the NPL league in Queensland can't get enough clubs to get budgets of $100,000, and if you can't put up a budget of $100,000, you shouldn't be in there. And unfortunately, the way it works, it's the same. You know, with coaching, and it's a different world down there. It's massively well supported. The city's 20 times, 30 times the size.
It's cutthroat though as well, right?
It's cutthroat. It's and whether you like it or not, you know, my career, Italian club, British club playing, coaching, Serbian, Croatian, Turkish, Macedonian.
Don't fuck around.
And I fuck around. And my first senior job when I was, 29, you know, I was the assistant coach at Preston Lions under Doug Hodgson, who'd just come back from Sheffield United. And then when Dougie left, they offered me a job. I would have been the youngest coach in the Victorian Premier League at the time. But then I had Stan Bilic from Melbourne Knights and David Davutovic sitting in my house. And they were trying to convince me to go to their feeder club to then go to the Melbourne Knights, because I felt I was probably at that stage too young to take that big job at that level. So I went down 3 levels, but I went to a Croatian club that had been relegated 2 years in a row. And you got to understand, this is how the cultures work. And so, you know, as an Australian boy coming through, and on my first senior job, I walk into a club and the whole club is Croatian. There's no misunderstanding. And a lot of things is spoken to you in Croatian. And you've got to build Croatian culture. You have to fit in and build their culture. You don't go and build your culture. You have to embrace their culture and build it and make it work. And you know, and I took that club and won a double that year, and we beat some Premier League clubs along the way. I think we started with 7 players because everyone exited. As soon as we started to win some games, the crowd started to come, the players started to come back. And I remember after we won the league, and we'd won the pre-season cup for the whole state league down there, and then not the Premier League, the state league. And then and we started with there's a newspaper clipping. In our first game, we had 10 people, and I was quoted in there saying, "Oh, on Sunday we had 10 people, a man and his dog. That's who come to watch the game." 8 weeks later, when we played in the pre-season cup final, there was like about 800. And I still remember the team going over and clapping the crowd, and the place just went like nuts. Like here, if we send their players over here to go and clap a crowd, you'll get this. Yeah. Down there, it's another world. And then when we won the league, there must have been 1,000 people there, coaching in derby games against Serbian clubs and against Turkish clubs. Like, it's another world. But I'll tell you, the end of that though is that after we won the league, my introduction to senior football and the media, they told me that the international Croatian radio is going to ring me Monday morning, 7 o'clock. So we won the league on the Saturday. I didn't get out of the club till Monday morning, must have been 4 o'clock, so it's solid. And I got home and I knew I had to be on the radio 3 hours later. And so I get the phone call and I was sitting in my underwear at home. I was pretty ordinary. And the lady says to me, she goes, "Teddy," she goes, "nice to meet you. We're going to lead in and there'll be a bit of music. We're going to lead in and then we go straight to your interview, okay?" I said, "Yeah, no worries." So listen away to Croatian music. So I got used to it by this stage. By the way, food was brilliant, always down there. Anyway, so the Croatian music goes along and then it leads in. And she starts like this. Please, to all the Croatian friends out there, don't take it this way at all. And I said, I know a lot of the guys. But it was like this, very, very hungover. And all I heard was I was expecting everything English. No. Terry Kirkham, Terry Kirkham, Terry Kirkham, good morning, Teddy. I was like, good morning. And then that's how the interview sort of progressed. And it's something I've never ever forgotten, in considering the cultures that I've had to go and work in down there.
Me and John Old went down 2 years ago to Melbourne Knights when they played Adelaide in the FFA Cup. Yep. And it's about 5,000 there. It was fucking mental crowd.
Yeah.
And they got battered 5-2, I think. But at the end of the game, we were in there till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Mark Viduka stand.
The Mark Viduka stand. We were there 4 or 5 in the morning. We had a lock-in. It was me, John, I think Bridgie was with us, and then there was like 3 or 4 of the Melbourne Knights hierarchy.
Yeah.
But there was flares going through the bar and everything. Croatia! Unbelievable atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's like being back home, to be honest.
I had 2 chances to take over there. I put Chris Taylor into his first job, Melbourne Knights, and at the time I was at Hume City, and John Ilian was the president. He was Crazy John. And after I did a lot at Chelsea, then the Turkish community came after me, and they were in the first division at the time, and I went on contract there and took them from the bottom and started winning, and then we finished 5th, and the next year Melbourne Knights came after me, and I'd already had Preston Lions, then it was Melbourne Knights, but there's no way I was prepared to leave the Turkish community, and we beat Heidelberg at home in front of 3,000 people, and Phil Stubbins was the coach, and I was the youngest coach in Victoria and probably in Australia at that level at that time. And when you see these people come to these games, and the amount of people, and you're talking about sitting around a fence, you're not in a stadium. And when our team that was on a low budget against Heidelberg, that was the mecca of all clubs at that time, and when we won 2-1, and you see the people storm onto the ground, and then when they got to the players race, they had to carry me, basically put me through, and the Turkish sing-song was this particular, I'd have to think of it now. Anyway, they do this particular type of song, I'll think of it in a sec. Ziggy Zaga. And to all my friends in Melbourne, there's a lot of guys will see this, they'll all have a laugh. But I'll tell you what, that's a culture thing when you see the Ziggy Zaga go. And, and I look at things sometimes and I think, if I had taken that Melbourne Knights job and where that would have gone, but I can tell you the Melbourne culture doesn't work that way. If you're at a big club and you're on contract and you're there to do a job, the worst thing you can do, especially as a young manager, is then go and take, I think I'm going to go to a bigger club and take another step. I look at the relationships that I have back at that club still to this day, very, very strong. And, it's the same when I went to Fitzroy City, they're a Serbian club. I went there as an assistant coach. But when I coached the Croatian team against Fitzroy City, I was accepted to walk from that side of the fence to that side of the fence and into their bar. Not too many people sort of, would get that down there. Amazing time. That 90s and the 2000s down there. And for anyone to leave Queensland and to go play down there in the environment, you're playing those types of derby games, look, the culture's still there. And even in the lower leagues, that culture is still there. It is an amazing difference to Queensland. A lot of people don't get it. And that's the reason why when we talk about boys going down there and we talk about the lifestyle and the cultures that they get to go and work in and learn. And
I think also, like, as you said, like it's playing, it's the closest a lot of players will get to playing professionally.
100%.
Because you've also got that tribalism, and you've also got playing in front of passionate fans.
Look, the communities support their football clubs. We went through that period where they wanted to take out the national flags of each club and whatever. They never ever took it out of the inside. You'll never ever take that heart out of a community. And the greatest thing I've got to learn was that I've been in those environments. I've sat in the boardrooms. I've been in the crowds. I've worked with the players. I've seen the juniors. I've coached those big games, and you feel that passion. And if you fail as a coach, they turn on you and they tell you, because you're being well paid to deliver a job. And you don't experience that here in Queensland. Everyone talks about this, Brisbane City versus Olympic. Well, I've coached in 4 derby games down there against John Cosmina and all who's who, and we've had all the big crowds there. And I'm sorry to everyone up here, but what happened 30 years ago in the NSL is not even comparable to today. And, the greatest thing I think that's happened just recently is the supporter base of Olympic. While everyone sits there and has a crack about them, can I tell you right now, that supporter base of Olympic that turn up to these finals and that big game, this is what the game needs. Here at Caboolture, we get 600, 800 people a game here. Our fans want to see us score goals and they're passionate. There's not enough of it. And in Melbourne, you get that in the big games, and it's great. It's an amazing place to be.
I agree with that on Olympic, because, like, obviously we were both at Olympic. Like, it wasn't sort of it was probably starting to get to there because you could see the club was starting to turn around.
Well, I had to turn it around. That was my job.
But I remember specifically a game when we played Toowoomba at home, and there was a big crowd there, and it was 0-0 at half time. We're walking off at half time, and they're jeering. They're like, ooh, you know, like every time we would get close to goal and we didn't score, they were starting. It was starting to sort of come back. Then we ended up pumping Toowoomba because they were dog shit. But like it was 0-0 at half time, and
brilliant half time talk.
It must be.
Tom Carroll got up and went boom, 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 and I just looked around the room. Stefanuto, Matt Mundy, Danny Byrne, everyone. I said, all right, boys, well done, Tommy, let's go.
I took control, obviously, but yeah, it's starting to turn around, and now like. It'd be great to see, you know, what Olympic have done. You see City. If everyone sort of, you know, I mean, you don't want the carry on.
It's easy. It's easy to see it in a grand final. Obviously, everyone wants to be a part of it, but like we've said it a few times on here, the best atmosphere, well, for me that I've been involved in is in those finals when, especially that Olympic Nights one where had Nights on this side, Olympic down
the
this
Greeks
end.
and the Croats,
so good.
Yeah, it is good.
And as I said to you, I've been down at down at Gold Coast Knights a bit lately, and I was a guest at one of the games just recently, and you know, and it'd be great to see a team down there. That team down there needs to be. I've speak to Adam Porrigan, said to them, you know, as soon as they can get a team down there looking to, you know, score a lot of goals and be dominant league and score goals, you know, the supporters down there will go and watch. Where I watched them against Gold Coast United down there, and there must have been 2,000 people there, and I can tell you now there weren't too many people watching the game. And you know, and that's what these fans like. The Croatians and those types of ethnic sort of you know, cultures, they want to see their teams go. We talked about Man United before. They want to see their teams go out. They want to see them have a go. They want to see passion. If someone gets cleaned up behind the scenes, they want to see the players stand back up and, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a young player or an old player. You keep behind the scenes, get up and put your finger in their chest. Yep. They want to see that passion. And you know, and I think, you know, just in that grand final again, yes, we don't want to see a lot of carry on, but I'll tell you what, you know, would I rather play in front of a game or coach in front of a game where we've got 100 supporters, or would I want to coach Olympic where they've got 1,000 nutcases running right? Because if Olympic had won, and all those players, and I'm sure the bench and everyone ran to that crowd, the sponsors in the stand and the board and everyone who puts their time and money in, everyone would have been clapping like this officially next to Rob Caboolture. They would have been all like this. But that place over there is what drives the place and the players, and you know.
Yeah, I think Olympic. It hurt me. I really wanted them to win that for Ben and, you know, all the boys there, because I think they deserve it. They did deserve it. They haven't shown up, but I think if everyone can adapt that sort of that passion behind the club, and you can't just bring that in. There has to be built, as you were saying. Like, that's what you're trying to do here. Olympics, it's an ethnic club, so they've got it sort of there. But one of the most enjoyable games that I've ever played in was that Olympic City when we played them at home, and you had the
Sunday form.
Well, you had the priest, the Greek Orthodox priest. He's blessing us all before the TK had this priest come in like this full kit. He's going around. He's flicking us all with holy water and stuff.
Tell us now. He was an actor.
No. That's very, very true. And I didn't bring my eye to approve it, and the board came to me. But you got to understand. Like when I went to Olympic, they're on the bottom. First team, reserve team, under 18's gone. Football Queensland basically said you're not getting your Lex licence. From a technical director down, the place had fallen apart, and I got headhunted. We just won the grand final at Peninsula, and my A licence had been released, and I'd done quite well with that, and I was getting targeted a little bit, and that job there was brought to me to then go to the A-League, and my job was to go and turn that club around. And from when I walked in the door, and then my key signings, Tom Carroll, Shane Stefanuto, you know, Costa Pizarris. There's a lot of players that I brought in and then restructured, put Matt Mundy in, played him as a 6, put Scott Bowe out and changed his position, and we changed a lot of things. And we started to get results. So I remember in the first 3 or 4 games that mid-year when I walked in on the bottom of the table, I counted 100 people watching our first game. We went from bottom to 5th. We only just missed out on the finals on the last day. And then in our last game, there's 500 people, and all the sponsors are re-signing. The coffee club was leaving, everyone was going. And then I had to take over as technical director and head coach with Peter Ioannidis, and we had to work for 8 months to get the licence back. We got the licence put in and we passed. and then we started to build that team again, and the culture started to come. But unfortunately, with what happens in Australia is then when we go bring in technical directors who have their own agendas, and they think they should sit over the top of head coaches and run the show and sit on the bench. When I see technical directors sitting on benches next to first team managers, you've got to be joking. And that's what happened to me there. But to be fair, and I chose to leave when I was in Malaysia, and the club was on the rebuild. The under-20s won the league that year by 6 games. Our under-18s finished 4th. We went out on the last day to 5th when we lost 7 players in 8-9 weeks, and we didn't replace anybody. We brought our under-23s up, and Tom was was a big part of that little journey. And I look at where the club is now. The support came back, and that's the biggest thing. I walk out the door when I go back down. I see all those supporters. They were gone. They weren't there, and the team that we put together went out and showed passion, and we kicked people, and Matt Mundy run around the middle and bashing people through the lines, and and it extended his career too, and he's a champion fellow. He's a very, very good club man down there. Christian Waters came in from nowhere, big centre half, banging everyone, smacking everyone, and it was a great period, and that's the reason why I was very disappointed. Make no mistake about it, I have a heart for Olympic. I left on my own choice because I wasn't happy about the way the committee and junior parents backed the technical director over me, considering everything that we'd built there and what we were building. But I can tell you what, when I see the passion of the supporters down there now in those grand finals and what it does for this league, to not have Olympic in the NPL system would have been a disaster. And I think when I was told, and the club was told they're not going to get their licence back, I thought that this can't happen. And when I see that grand final and the supporters that come, they need Olympic. They need Brisbane City. When Brisbane City were relegated, poor management, poor planning for a number of years down there because committees are too focused on development and kids, took their eye off the first team. John Cosmina, was in there and was never really given the push to go and win things. It was just, let's focus on other things. And they got relegated. Then they decided to give Matt Smith the gun and keep him and go, right, we need you to go and win. They backed him. And Matt Smith will be very determined now to go and prove everyone wrong and go and win the NPL next year, as will Ben Kahn, as will Scott McDonald, as will Aaron Felt. And hopefully the crowds from Peninsula start to get on board and start to follow up. And like the Lions, they were very passionate when they won as well. It was great to see. But we need these big clubs, and we need them well supported, and it's very, very important we don't lose focus of that.